Hi, it's Steve. Today we're going to show you how to change the inner door glass on your Range, and it's a really easy job. All we're going to need is a number 2 Phillips screwdriver and a small flat blade screwdriver. Let me show you how we do it. Now, to do this repair, we will need to remove the door from the Range, so simply open it to its full position, and then on each of the hinges you'll note that there's a little pivoting lock. If you pry that down with a flat blade screwdriver, that will lock the hinges in position, and then we can simply lift the door off, and then we'll set it on a suitable work surface where we can do the repair. Now, with the door on a suitable work surface, and we put some soft carpeting there to protect the face of it, we'll start by removing the handle. So the 2 screws at the top, just loosen those and support the handle at the same time. Then remove the handle and set it aside. And next we have screws on either side that secure the hinges to the inner door panel. And it's easier if we remove those. Once we get the door apart, you'll see that they're slightly in the way, so we'll take them off now. Just loosen both screws and lift them out. Now, next we'll remove 4 screws across the bottom that secure the front panel to the inner door. We can now lift up on that inner door to separate the two. Just pull it back slightly and lift it away. We'll next take that outer door panel and glass and set those aside. We can then place that inner door panel face down, where we'll next remove 2 screws on the bottom that secure the inner panel to that. Then next we're going to remove a single screw that secures one of these side brackets, and it doesn't matter which side you pick. Just need to remove one of them and lift it up, set it aside. Now, with that side piece removed, we'll next remove the 12 screws that go around the perimeter of that glass. We'll remove those, and then we can lift this inner heat shield out of the way. Now, with all of those screws removed, we'll next pull these little standoffs off of the screws that secured the door handle in place. So simply just pull those right off and allow that screw to drop out, and set those aside. Now we can take that inner shield, lift up on it, pull it out from underneath the lip at the bottom, and out from underneath the screw on the opposite side. Now, there will be some insulation attached to this panel, so carefully lift it up and try to place the insulation carefully. We'll set that aside. Now, if the glass is still intact, you simply need to lift it up to remove it. Or if it is the innermost glass, you'll need to remove the center one first. Carefully set that aside, lift the metal frame out, set that aside, and then you can remove the inner glass. And again, if it is intact and you're just replacing it because of staining, simply discard it. And we'll take our new pane of glass and we're going to carefully lay that in position, making sure that we don't pinch any of the insulation between the glass and the inner door panel. Now, at this point, you may wish to clean that glass on the inner surface, and once we've done that, we'll put the frame back in. We'll sit the frame on top of that glass. Make sure that the outer edge of that frame fits outside of the frame of the glass, so that it sits flush right up against it. We can next put the center piece of glass in, and again, this is a good opportunity to clean that glass before we fully assemble the door. Make sure it's laying in proper position, and then before we put the inner door panel shield in place, make sure that the mounting screw holes are all exposed, and then we'll put that shield in. So we'll take that shield and we're going to slide it in underneath the one screw that we left in place, and just pull it upward a little bit and make sure that we can tuck the bottom edge of it in underneath the little lip on the bottom of that inner door panel, and then push it down into position. We'll then reinstall the 12 screws around the perimeter of the glass. Now, with the heat shield in place, we'll next put the trim piece on the edge. We're going to set that lip inside the inner door panel. And then install the retaining screw through the hole in the outer lip of that inner door panel, and then tighten it. Now next we'll put the handle mounting screws in. So we're going to make sure that the flat washer is intact, and we'll push it through from the inner door panel side, pull it completely up, and then we'll take the spacer, and you'll note that there is a little spring type tab on one end of it. We'll point that up and then just press those down on it to hold the screw in place. Now before we install the outer door panel and glass, if you need to, it's a good opportunity to clean that last surface of glass before we reassemble. First we'll set the hinges into place, and then we'll carefully install the 2 mounting screws for that hinge. Stand the door up on its edge, and you can turn it right upside down. Line up the screw hole opening, then tighten it securely. And then turn the door around and do the opposite side. Make sure those are tightened securely. Now with the hinges installed, we'll take that inner door panel and we're going to just set it aside. So next we'll take the outer door panel and glass, and we're going to set that on our work surface. And we're going to keep the top edge of that just over the edge of our work surface so that the holes for the handle are accessible from the bottom. It's also a good opportunity to clean the inner portion of that outer door glass before we reassemble the door. And once we've done that, we're going to take that inner door panel, and we'll just make sure that the handle mounting screws have the sleeves pushed flush down to the shield, and that will hold them in position. And then we're going to flip that whole panel right over on its face. We'll engage the handle screws at the top of the door, and then lower the bottom of the door into position, making sure that the inner door panel goes in behind the tabs on the outer door panel. We'll then install the 4 screws that secure those tabs on the outer door panel to the inner door panel. And we'll also install the 2 remaining screws that secured that heat shield to the inner door panel. Now we'll turn the door around so we can install the handle. When installing the handle, we want to make sure that this little notch is on the bottom. And we'll line up the hole on the actual handle with the screw. And just start that screw into the handle. Once we've got a few threads in there, we'll go to the opposite end. And again, we'll line it up and then carefully tighten that screw, using caution that we don't over tighten it and strip the handle. And then come back to the opposite end and tighten it. And once we have those screws tightened up, we can now put the door back on the range. So just carefully line up both hinges with the openings on the front of the range. Make sure that it sits down flat. Open the door fully. We'll flip those little hinge locks up into position. And your repair is complete.